My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer. All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about the Masterclass. That's right, the Masterclass. The Influencer Masterclass that I just taught. It is officially a wrap. 3-day Masterclass happened on February 27th through March 1st. I know I've been talking about it a lot here on the show. So now that it's done, I actually just kind of wanted to share my thoughts with you, the reflection, how it went, and all that good stuff, right? All that good stuff. Now, if you still want to catch it, it's not too late. Of course, the live class is done, but the replays are still available. So if you want to access that, you can go to ronniecruz.com/masterclass. I'll leave the link in the show notes of this episode. Again, it's ronniecruz.com/masterclass. So this episode that you're listening to right now is being released on a Friday. And so I definitely wanted to get in here. I had intended to release this episode yesterday, but I didn't get it recorded in time. But I wanted to get on here and talk about, number one, that the replay is available, of course. And of course, number two, just how well it went and how good and happy I feel about it. I think have been talking about how hesitant and reluctant and nervous and self-doubt and all that stuff had really set in coming into it, because it's a completely foreign space to me, right? Like, this is my very first foray into digital education. And now that it's done, I'm so pleased with how it went. I think more than anything, now that I've knocked down this barrier, I've knocked down this door, it's game on from here on moving forward, right? Now that I know I can do it, it's all just a matter of, it's time to crank this thing up and get better and better and better at it. So that first time is always the scariest. It's always the hardest to do, but understand that once you get it done, it's game on. And an important thing to do is, I was talking about this on a live the other day. Important thing to do is celebrate, right? Take some time to celebrate the win, right? Integrate the success. Brendan Burchard talks about this a lot, right? It's integrating the win and integrating the success, because then this helps you develop your self-confidence, especially if it's something that's brand new to you. So I made sure I integrated that success, and I'm still kind of reeling from how good it feels to have accomplished this thing, right? All right, so integrate the wins. Once you achieve your goal, integrate the win, and that'll help you develop the self-confidence moving forward in iteration. Whether you're going to move on and improve the thing that you've just achieved, or you're going after a new goal. Right. So celebrate the win. Now, the class itself, just to talk about it, it was tremendous. I mean, the registration numbers was great. Like, I'm just going to say that. Like, I had no idea that anybody was even going to show up, right, or even register, because my intention wasn't to necessarily do paid traffic to the class, because I wanted to kind of bootstrap it and see what I can generate with organic traffic. And so all the stuff that I had been doing from the content publishing standpoint, it had really worked, right? Especially the lives on Facebook. It had really generated a lot of interest for the master class. And I had, 60 people registered. Now you might say that's not a lot, Ronnie. That's nothing. Well, it is if compared to zero. it is compared to zero, and it is, given that it's my first one. I think it's a win regardless. And on top of that, I just built it organically, right? I built it organically largely on Facebook, right? So it's a win, man. It's a win. To me, if nothing else, it proves that you can grow organically and grow your list, especially your email list, but also, get your offers out there organically. Not that it's necessarily the only way or the most ideal way, but if budget is an issue for you, if budget is limited for you, then I want to let you know that it's possible, right? And that's one of the things that for me, one of the principles is that, content creation and publishing is the best entry point into marketing, because largely it's free, right? I mean, of course, There might be some limitations with podcasting, but even with podcasting, you can get your podcast hosted for free on some of the hosting platforms. So it's amazing. It's amazing when you get really scrappy. You can really accomplish a lot. You can really accomplish a lot. Now, as far as the class themselves, could they have gone better? Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, that's not something that I'm going to beat myself up about. I'll use it as data and information, and I'll improve and tweak as I go. I'm not going to punish myself for that. I think some people have a tendency to just beat themselves up about the things that they felt didn't go right, or didn't meet a standard, and I get it, right? Like, that's how we were raised, especially if you came up in the education system here in the U.S. They punish you for, quote unquote, getting things wrong. And in a situation like this, when you're iterating, when you're adapting, when you're growing, there's no such thing as wrong. There's just growth, right? And there's just learning, and there's just lessons. So I'm not gonna punish myself for it not maybe going as well as I thought it will, that as I wanted it to originally. People received the information well. People felt that they were educated, and that they learned a lot, and that's what matters, right? I'm always my worst critic. My worst critic. We are all always our worst critic. So it's never as bad as you think. And also, yeah, even if it is, just use that as information to improve upon, as opposed to information to punish yourself on. And the last thing that I wanted to share with you today is that I realized, okay, coming out of the class, the last session on Wednesday, I realized that I caught myself going right immediately into the next thing, because I got a lot coming out, right? And I'm going to talk about that in a future episode. I got a lot of projects that are coming soon, coming attraction type things. I got a lot in the pipeline, and so my natural tendency is, okay, let's continue to be hyper productive. What's next? I caught myself, and I realized, okay, Ronnie, take a breath, just pause, and enjoy the moment, right? Like, again, I accomplished a major milestone in my career, and it's not that, like, okay, the metrics or any kind of measure. It was a big accomplishment in that it is my first foray into a brand new world, right? Into a brand new phase of my career. And so I had reminded myself, just take a break, take a pause, take a breath, and enjoy the moment, right? Enjoy the moment. Relish in what I just did. I taught potentially 60 people on a subject that I had only honestly just started studying 12 months ago, right? So it was a big deal. It was a really big deal for a lot of reasons. Really momentous occasion for on a lot of different levels. And so I just gotta remind myself that to enjoy it, right, and to really relish, and congratulate yourself, right? That's part of integrating the win. We get so caught up in the frenetic pace of life that we forget to celebrate, right? We forget to take a pause and be in the moment, and that's what really it does, right? I was so busy moving on to the next outcome, the next goal that I was trying to accomplish. It just kept pulling me further and further away from the moment, right? I was always, I just went on to chasing the next thing, chasing the next thing in the future, chasing the next thing in the future, and if you do that too much, you forget that, well, the moment's all we have, right? The moment's all we have. And so we got to really just check in every once in a while to enjoy the here and now, especially if you've accomplished something that you've been working on for quite a while. And so, yeah, don't forget to take a breath. Don't forget to check in, and remind yourself that the moment is beautiful. The moment is all we have, right? Right. So that's my message for today. More from me about what's coming out, and the coming attractions for what's in the pipeline and what I'm working on. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, before I sign off though, again, don't forget, if you want to catch the influencer masterclass that I just taught, you can still watch the replay. You can still access the replay. So go to ronniecruz.com/masterclass. The link is in the show notes of this episode. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. More from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.